Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our latest live video, and today we're doing a how-to session. I'm delighted that I'm joined by Danni, who will I'll get to introduce herself in a second or so. But we're going to look at boosting the success of your social media advertising. I'm sure for many people watching this, the social media is such a huge part of our marketing stroke advertising strategy. So I'm sure we'll get plenty of great advice from Danni in a second. As with any with these live videos, if you've got any questions or any comments, please do put them into the chat boxes, and we'll try to cover them. And we'll try and cover a lot of the questions at the end once Danni's done her bit. I know a number of people will watch this as well on demand. So if you are, again, please feel free to put the comments into the box, because Danni can cover them off later with you, I'm sure, to help, and we'll mention the contact details at the end as well. So any questions, welcome. We'll love to hear that. So enough of me. I will hand it over to you, Danni, to just introduce yourself and talk about the session. Then we'll go from there.
Yeah. Thank you very much for inviting me along, firstly. So yeah, as Michael said, I'm Danni Johnson, and I work here at Xpand. I've recently just been promoted to digital marketing manager, so very happy about that. But yeah, my focus here is social media and strategy. So in terms of everything that you would do on social media, and there's a lot. So I am going to go through some basics about how to boost the success of your social media advertising. There is so much, like seriously, trying to cram this into 45 minutes was intense, and I'm still worried that I might not. So I'll try and get through, but there is so much more, obviously. So just making a point that it could go on a lot longer, and there is a lot more. So these are just, it is an overview. So I'll get started. So did you know in the last year there has been a 40% rise in the number of people using social media on a daily basis? Now, a lot of this is to do with COVID, obviously, and businesses and people being forced to become more digital and more online and present in the online world. If you think of people in the older generation, where like grandparents and things have been forced to actually use social media to purchase things that they may not have used before. It wasn't as easy just to pop out to the local store. Things like Amazon and stuff like that, obviously we've seen a huge rise in that. So it's just something good before we actually get started to consider. So in this session, I'll cover why you should actually consider running paid social campaigns, some of the most common mistakes made with social ads and how to combat them. A few recommendations. Like I said, there is so many and I could keep going and going, but I've tried to just limit it to a few big ones. And I've just picked out a couple of great brand examples, and we're just going to run through why they are working and why they're good. So who am I? So I have 16 years experience in recruitment, sales and marketing. A bit of a varied background, to be honest. Kind of left school after sixth form, not really knowing what I wanted to do. Fell into recruitment and sales, and recently, last couple of years, moved into the digital agency world here at Xpand. So I've worked in healthcare, education, retail and industrial sectors, so pretty wide experience across them. I was previously trained by LinkedIn's sales team, so actually have had one-to-one sessions with the sales team on how to use LinkedIn and how to get the most out of it. So, really pleased to be able to say that I've had that opportunity. Not many do. And as I've said before, I'm responsible for social media strategy here at Xpand. So you may have already seen previous webinars that we've run, or that Jags, he recently did a how-to event on here too, so you may have seen his, but just a quick overview about us here at Xpand. We are a studio based in Saltaire in West Yorkshire. It's a lovely little village. We've got a bit of filming going on today, which is exciting, so it's all going off in Saltaire. We are a full service digital marketing agency, so we cover the wide range of the scale. So, and we'll go through a little bit more of that in a second. We are approaching our 14th year in business. Our birthday is coming up, which we're very excited about, but unfortunately not able to celebrate it as much as we'd love to due to obviously restrictions. But I'm sure we'll have a massive party when we're allowed in the future, if Jag allows it. So here at Xpand, we use a process a model called Solar 7. And basically, this is how we work with our clients in terms of the digital side of things and marketing. So there's 7 stages to Solar 7, and talking quickly through each stage. Discovery is stage 1. This is where we will kind of sit down with a client, find out exactly what their goals are, their objectives, really dig into them as a business, what all their mission is, vision, values, things like that. The whole kind of discovery, basically. Then we will go into stage 2, and this is where we kind of dig into the detail. So the team here will do assessments on all the different areas. We'll really kind of find out what the competitors are up to and any kind of opportunities that we can put in front of the client. And then we deliver it in a roadmap with critical success factors where we kind of say to the client, these are the things we've identified, this is what you need to do. And these 3 things are critical in order to achieve these objectives. So it's quite a detailed process, and it works across like a roadmap, like I say, across the 12 months and then continuing. And then stage 3 is brand and content, because of course that is at the heart of everything that we do with marketing. If you have no content and you have no brand, then there's no point, basically. Then we move out to the website, because websites are obviously still the core of the business. There is an argument that social media is almost getting as big, if not will be taking over website, which is a scary thought, but it is a possibility, or at least working alongside them even more so than they are already. The stage 5 are all the different elements of digital marketing that you could potentially use as a business. So we dig into all of these areas. And the idea is that all of these work together to complement each other. Then, of course, we review and measure, because without that, how would we ever know what's working and what's not? And then number 7, the final stage, is return on investment. So the results. So why should you consider running paid social campaigns? So raising brand awareness, targeting capabilities, drive traffic to your website, and ROI. These 4 are kind of the top. There are so many different reasons why you should, but the biggest one, I suppose, would be the targeting capabilities. You obviously, with organic social media, there is a limit to what you can reach, how many people you can reach and who you can reach. The targeting capabilities on these platforms are amazing. Like, you can literally drill down to find people who drive a car, who don't drive a car, who where they live, what job title they do, what they're responsible for, what group. There's all sorts of different capabilities that you can use to target that customer that you can't necessarily, you can't do really with organic. So it's that's a really good reason to actually run one. You can drive the traffic to your website, so you can use different types of the adverts to actually pull traffic to your website. And of course, raising brand awareness, like, paying for it to actually just stretch out the reach of your brand, which is good for anybody starting out or new products. And return on investment. Advertising is a good return on investment. It does have, for what you put in, you will see a return. And as we've seen so much recently on social media, organic reach is dying. Or is it? Everybody's saying it is, and then people say they don't know that it is, but nobody really knows unless you work for the big boys. You can't really say if it is or it isn't. Is it just because it's getting busier? Like we said, 40% more people are online on social media, so maybe that's one of the reasons. But we'll go into this more in a bit. So the most common mistakes made when running ads and how to combat them. So lack of planning. So I found this online and I cannot remember who said it, and I'm kicking myself for not actually putting it, but I just liked it. It's probably a Disney quote, to be fair, but a goal without a plan is just a wish, and it makes complete sense. You know, we do all have wishes and goals, but if we don't plan how we're going to achieve those goals, then they will just stay as a wish. So it makes complete sense. And so many people just run into adverts without even considering what they're going to do, what the objective is, what do they actually want to gain from running these ads. And then I get told by people that advertising is too expensive. And it's like, did you actually plan? Did you actually look at what you wanted to achieve? And usually the answer is no. So what you need to do first is build a strategy. So you need to consider what the objective is. What will you track? Which platform will you use? Because there's so many different ones. Do you have an established following already? Do you understand what you are doing? Have you planned in time to assess and evaluate your ads? And looking at your competitors' ads for inspiration. So in terms of the established following, there is a question there, but a lot of people will ask me when they're starting out with Facebook, can they just do an ad straight away? And generally, the consensus is that if you have a higher following, then that will help, because in terms of your organic, we're going to go into more detail, but if you're running ads and you've got an empty page to go back to, it just doesn't look great. Build your target audience. So thinking about who you're actually targeting. Are they hot or cold? Have they worked with you before? Have they engaged with your site before? Use your data. People forget this all the time, but you have a wealth of data there. Google Analytics is full of information about your audience and what they're doing when they're online. All your social media analytics are great for that too. Facebook's audience pages now are really good. LinkedIn's going that way too. And don't skip out on refining your advertising parameters. So respecting the lifestyle choice of others. For example, this ad over here, which looks really blurred, so I apologize for that. But this is an old one that I found. They put this ad out. They didn't refine the advertising, and this went out to vegetarians, which is obviously not great. So just being aware of the targeting principles as well. And checking your organic analytics. So looking at the content that you've already got out there and how that's resonating with your followers, and considering how you might structure any of your ads in a similar style. So there's a lot of planning and looking over and considering before you just jump into an ad. They don't consider the sales funnel. So on a first date, you wouldn't propose. Well, I hope you wouldn't, and I would strongly suggest you don't, and hopefully nobody has. But we consider that the process of advertising is exactly the same. So when you're thinking about the sales funnel, we're looking at the top that, this lovely guy here proposing on the first date. Yeah, that's probably more right down here in action. And if that's somebody who has never heard of your brand before, that's not going to cut it, to be fair. So remember, if your audience is cold and has never heard of you, then hitting them with bottom of the funnel promos isn't going to work. We're all human. If we see that we're being advertised to and we've never heard of them before, then we're just not going to engage with it. So it's just a waste of money. You need to work them down the funnel gently. So by using awareness ads first, up at the top here, you can use things like company intro videos, product demos, testimonials, case studies, user-generated kind of content, which we're going to talk about a bit later. These are all the kind of standard advertising methods that I would use alongside other methods as well. And you can also use your organic content to help with that as well. But yeah, having a good plan and considering the sales funnel is really a strong recommendation of mine. Quick tip on there as well, retargeting ads. They are great for reaching customers who have already interacted with your website. So technically like the warm customers. So these are great for like abandoned basket, abandoned shopping trolley people, or even just generally people who have gone on, looked at something and left. You can get all these kind of analytics and you can set them up. And you should really kind of consider running an offer promo to these audience then. So that is where you can really kind of go into the bottom of this area, into the conversion zone, and try and win them back. But yeah, there's a lot of information on that. So if you do want to know any more, then let me know. They use the wrong ad type, and this happens a lot. There are so many different formats, and of course every platform is different as well. So it really does depend on your goal, and the platforms are quite good at helping you with this. They will kind of suggest what they think is best from what you're trying to achieve. But yeah, just be mindful of what you want them to do in terms of choosing the ads, So if you're wanting them to download something, you're wanting them to go somewhere, you want them just to watch something, there are different versions. So it can be a minefield for someone who doesn't really understand the platforms. And it's just, social media is changing. Every day there is something on there like updating, or new sites coming out, or new functions, or, there's Bebo's coming back, or is it? Who knows? But, there's so many different options on each of these platforms. So trying to be an expert in that as well as doing your normal job is difficult. And this is where I mentioned earlier about the cost becoming expensive, because people don't really understand it or plan it and just run for it. And then it can end up costing a lot of money because it's just not being run correctly. So several different options on each of the platforms. These include, so there is an extensive list, but these are kind of the main ones that cover all of the sites, the platforms. So there's the normal static image ad, which is literally just your pictures. Your video ads, carousel collection ads. So these work well if you've got a product and you want to show different versions of the product, or they kind of look a bit like a catalog, like as they scroll along. They work really well in e-commerce, obviously, because they have like different versions of shopping. Story ads, so these are obviously more so for Instagram and Facebook. However, LinkedIn, they do have the story ad, so who knows, that might be an option. Lead ads, so these are typically your form filling, or something that results in you getting an email address, and a messenger ad. So these are your direct messaging through. So they are typically usually a bit more expensive, but they're more direct because they are conversational. So, for example, if you are a business looking to build awareness of your new product, a video ad or story ad would be a good option, unless you were using a retargeting method to existing customers, and then you could maybe offer a free trial as a lead ad. So just an idea to think about there. A quick tip, be mindful of using video ads if your audience is mainly on mobile. So recently I saw where somebody had they'd recorded a lovely like who are we promo style video and put it out as an ad. But when people were viewing it on mobile, it was flicking up, and then it was just doing the little mini thing with all the white screen around the back. So it was really difficult for people to obviously even watch. So people just weren't engaging because no one would. Why would you? So to avoid this, you could use the square option in all your videos. So they will then adapt to any of the ad type that you're using. Obviously, that's not ideal if you're changing an ad or something like that. But it's just being aware of that, and it's something that could combat a major issue if you can just make it square. They don't consider the aesthetics. So people make up their minds within 90 seconds of their first interaction with a person or a product. And that's true of anything, whether it's seeing that on a screen or seeing it in person. About 62 to 90% base their assessment on colours alone, but smiling faces evoke positive feelings, which of course I'm sure we all know. If a stranger glances over and sends you a smile, it's natural to smile back. Previously, when I first started working with ads, it was very much about your ad looked like an ad. It was very much TV style ad, buy now, purchase this, rah, rah. That has completely kind of gone now. And it is more about how the ad kind of blends into the feed and looks less like an ad. So a lot of people are still making the mistake that they're like pretty much like that car sales ad, buy now, come now, the Windows guy, for example, and their ads are looking a bit like that. So it's more about kind of blending into those natural surroundings of the newsfeed so that it doesn't look like an ad. So because people don't like being sold to, it's just a natural kind of human thing. We just don't. So if it doesn't look like you're being sold to, you're more likely to click. Considering how they'll stop the scroll, so if your ad looks boring and it doesn't stop the thumb scroll, then that's a problem in itself. Your photo as well, considering if you're using a stock image, that's okay, but is it actually relevant to what your message is, and does it reflect the offer? Just a point here, one that I pulled here from he shared this one, and as I've put down there, 2 things to avoid: white space and the see more message. So you can see here that there is a lot of white space around this, and it's completely lost what was meant to be there in the middle. So just being mindful of that and how you can potentially adjust that advert to fill the screen as such. And the see more message has not appeared here, but they do advise that if you are having to get your customer to click before they engage, then that's a bit of a turn off. So if you can keep it to the 2 lines, that's ideal. They ignore the landing page. So this happens a lot. I see it a lot. So they'll put a lot of effort into designing these amazing looking ads, and then when you click on it, it takes you just to the home page, or it takes you to a completely irrelevant page to what the ad was talking about. You do this and your bounce rate will increase, I promise you, because people are lazy. We don't want to have to go back through everything again. So if you are choosing to direct the viewer to a page on your website, you need to ensure that it flows so that the message is continued. Don't make them reread everything again. No one's got time for that. If they are if everything's repeated again and again, it kind of, it doesn't work, but they need to kind of blend together. So you can have a little bit of repetition just to kind of reconfirm what they've already read, but don't make them reread everything. The ad content reflects the page content, so that's just common sense. I think, if you're talking about signing up to a webinar and then you direct them to a page where it's the About Us page and they have to then go and find it, then it's completely irrelevant content. It doesn't make sense. The landing page is a continuation of the ad's aesthetics. So do they represent the same brand? So I've seen examples before where a company has advertised an ad as on their sister site page and directed it to their website of their parent company. So technically 2 different companies, but sending them through to that, and obviously somebody clicks on that ad and they're sent through, they're going to think they've gone to the wrong website. So things like that, just being mindful of, are the colours the same? Is the brand look, the feel, all the same? Does it represent where you're sending them? So, you know, if you've got stock images, but your website's full of little character image, then it just, you know, just keep it kind of continuing. Can't talk. Okay, and the biggie is the URL. Make sure that this URL down here is correct. Seen that before where they've had the wrong ones, but this one, Barclaycard, this one actually made quite a few headlines in the social media world because people thought it was spam. So they were concerned and reporting it as a spammy link, which it wasn't at all. It was just that they'd not amended the URL, so it read correctly. So just being mindful of that. They don't monitor, analyze, or amend, and this one really frustrates me, if I'm completely honest. So many people do this. If you fail to assess the results of your ad campaigns, then your ad will basically fall stale. You can't just set an ad up and let it go. And there is a learning process within the ads where they do need a couple of weeks to just be left alone, to just learn about what they're doing, what the audience is. But once that learning process is over, then you need to take control and you need to be kind of analysing what is working and what's not. The easy way to do this, they all provide a demographic report, so you can actually look into the real detail of who is clicking on your ad, what are they doing, and it's really valuable because you can look at things like this and go, right, okay, so we know VPs are not doing anything. They're not actually clicking through. They're not really doing much. So are they the right audience? Should we actually take them off the targeting so that we can concentrate on getting more of these instead? Or is it that our call to action isn't strong enough? Either way, if you are targeting people that are not really that interested, it's still costing you every time they click, or even see it, depending on what the target is. So a lot of people forget to do this. They'll run two ads together with a different graphic or a different wording, different call to action, however, and they forget to turn the one off that isn't performing. So once you know which one you want to go with, then remember to turn the other one off, otherwise you will be getting charged, obviously, for two ads running. And track the data and look at all the analytics. So, you know, you can spend hours looking into your analytics and seeing what's working, what's not, but the platforms are so good at giving you all of this information that you can really kind of dig into all the detail, even so looking and making sure that they're the right kind of people, they're in the right area. You know, I can get a bit geekish when it comes to it, to be fair, but just, you know, keeping an eye on these kind of things will stop you from losing money, basically. So in 2020, Facebook announced that they had 10 million active advisors using the platform to promote their products and services. That's a 3 million increase from the previous year. So how do you make sure your ads stand out from the crowd? So I'm going to give you just a few of my recommendations in order to do that. So the first one is to use user-generated content. So what we mean by that is content that your customers have created and tagged you in. So, you know, if somebody has, we're doing it at the moment, there's a new shop near us, food place, and we've been sharing pictures of the food we bought from them and tagging them in so that they can then reshare that, and you know, that helps them as a new business. So why is user-generated content important? Because most people trust what their peers have to say about a brand or a service. People trust what you recommend. I mean, TripAdvisor, for example, you know, people will go on there to look at what a hotel is like before they even trust what the hotels say about themselves. So there's a big deal for that, really. Consumers are much more likely to communicate the feelings over social media these days. So in terms of, you know, you can keep an eye on social listening for that sense as well. So, you know, if somebody's saying, I've had a great experience at this company, or then you can actually get in contact and ask them if you're okay to share that content. And that is more powerful than anything that you would ever shout about yourself. And social's perfect for this because it promotes user participation and engagement. That's what social media is all about, being social. So user-generated content will just push that angle really well. So there's an example here of Starbucks doing it. They do it quite a lot, actually. And somebody has basically put this on Instagram and tagged Starbucks in. And then what they've done is they've just reshared it with a little kind of nod to the original creator for using their content. So just making sure that you do that is absolutely fine. Second recommendation, so repurpose top performing organic content. So a lot of the time people come to me and go, I don't know where to start, I don't know what to use. And we mentioned before about looking at your organic posts to see like what's working well with your followers. But this kind of just gives you a little bit further in terms of just looking at what is actually getting engagement. So if you have an evergreen post which you use regularly and you know it usually performs well, so by evergreen I mean a promo post or a video post that you regularly use, you just repurpose it. Why not give it a go as an actual advert? So on your analytics page, you will be able to see, this is our Facebook page, you'll be able to see how your posts are actually doing and what kind of impressions they're getting, what views, clicks, all of the analytics. So if we look at this one as an example, we can see here that our SEO intro actually might be worth sticking on as an ad. It does get quite a bit of impression when we put it out there, and it does get engagement and clicks, but actually putting it up as an advert may just target the right people with some audience targeting. We could potentially see that fly. So it's a good place to start if you're not really sure. And there are other things that get a lot, but a lot of the time it might be the employee stuff as well, which you could consider if you really wanted putting a boost behind that or sponsoring it a little bit, where you can see these options here. It says boost, and that might just be sticking a tenner on it just to push it out. They are useful to use a boost as a bit of a testing method, but the audience targeting features are not as good as the campaign ones. So something to be mindful of if you're thinking about dipping your toe in and you just want to see how things might work, then sticking, 50 quid on it, whatever, might be worth doing so. Third recommendation, always check your content. So I don't know if anybody remembers, but this was quite a big issue. It does sound silly when you say, check your content, but even the big companies make stupid errors. Dove actually made the news with this one where they'd put an advertisement up where this lady turned into this lady, and obviously it just was completely inappropriate and caused a lot of bad publicity for them. So just making sure that you are really aware of everything. So I think good copy should be short and sweet, but always add value. So there's that keyword value there, is that everything we want in life, we want some value, we want to learn, we want a reason to engage with something. So what's it going to give us back? So just keep that in your mind. Images do need to be colourful and eye-catching and non-generic, but be mindful of how they might be misinterpreted by the user, or you could draw attention for all the wrong reasons, as Dove did. Facebook doesn't like lots of text in the creative. They've even come out and said that images with less than 20% text perform better. And always include a call to action. So many companies miss out on this and don't put the button on, or don't put what they actually want people to do in their ad. So it's just doesn't go anywhere. Fourth recommendation, organic and paid content should work together and complement each other. So yeah, going back to that organic reach being dead, nobody really knows, and you see people say it is, it isn't, and I've just taken the stance that, you know, there are things that you can do to make your organic better, and working together with your paid content is one of the ways that you can do that. So even if organic is dying, it isn't going away. So now it's extremely important to plan your strategy so it incorporates both. So here, I've just done a little example of how this can work together. So on the left side, we've got organic, which is brand awareness, customer service, relationship building. And then on paid, we've got reach a larger audience, target ideal customers, and drive leads and conversions. In the middle, where these overlap, we can gain new customers and followers, we can promote quality content, and we can research the target audience using both organic and paid working together. So there's a lot to be said from them working like that. So if you're paying for advertising but not backing up the advert with some credibility building from your followers, then you're missing a huge opportunity. So the only way that I could kind of think of an example would be like you posting out leaflets about your new shop opening up and like a promo to come to it, but then not having anything on the shelves when they actually come. So it is really important to have some content on your organic page when you are pushing out paid. So don't just ignore your organic and leave it, because it is really important that that is there. And generally that can be your top funnel awareness. And that can be where you're testing your content, you're testing what's working, and then that's what will lead you into your paid. Here's an example. So Headspace is a mindful company, which people might have heard of, but they work their organic and their paid so well together. So the one on the left here, life is short, we can live it lost in thought, or we can choose to be present as life unfolds around us. And then over here, this one's the paid one, where it's quite short and sweet, simple, subscribe, ask you what you want to do, and applies to the reader straight away. So the one on the left serves as shareable, inspirational content without pushing a strong sales pitch. So it's something that people might want to share across their newsfeed, and that's something really important to think about with organic is, will my audience want to put this on their network? Will they want to put this out to the people that they engage with? And that is the biggest thing to kind of remember when creating organic content. And then the one on the right is the paid ad, and obviously has a stronger call to action, a bit more promo-y. But this just shows that how they are working together in the funnel. So let's look at some example ads. So this one from HelloFresh, you can see here it's a nice carousel. So it highlights variety. So if variety is a selling point for your brand, the carousel format that I mentioned earlier can help showcase this. So HelloFresh are doing that by showcasing 4 of their different meals that you can create. So it's very it's very visual, but also it's a good use because obviously they've got more than one product, like I mentioned. Appetizing imagery, so it looks amazing. Tempting visuals of food are an excellent way to make people hungry for more, literally. And the carousel format delivers that. Putting the product in focus with high quality photography is a good way to inspire the cravings. This is slightly blurred because I've taken it as a screenshot, so but it is a very crisp, clear image that I think you've got to admit it does make you a bit hungry. Makes me hungry anyway. And they make it look easy. The ad demonstrates how the food kits work in 5 pictures, and make different meals with a box of pre-portioned ingredients and easy recipes. So it's nice and simple, straight to the point, and it speaks to their audience, their target audience, really well. This one is from a company called Airtable. And they are all about managing editorial calendars and workflows. So again, short, straightforward copy in just 21 words. Airtable describes its major value proposition and engages viewers with a question. So they've used the area down here as well to put across that question. The only thing to consider there is how it has cut off, so being mindful of that. But you know, the message is there. Eye-catching image, so it's a friendly, sleepy dog. It has nothing to do with software for sale, but it does make you stop scrolling, and even I might click on it just because of that. There is a fine line between using cute images of puppies to express the mood of your brand and misleading viewers with clickbait. So don't do the latter. Don't just, you know, as I said earlier, don't just put an image on there that's not related at all. The fact that this is a tired, sleepy dog and the messaging is about being tired, that you can get away with. But yeah, don't just put pictures of cute babies on and stuff when your promotional message is nothing to do with that. And just be mindful of how you can tweak it slightly. Effective landing page. So when you actually click on this ad, it takes you to the landing page for this product that talks about it more in detail and about its value. And it's a good reminder that you don't have to say everything in your ads. There just isn't enough space. So to summarize, social media advertising can raise brand awareness, increase sales, and convert customers into brand advocates when it's done right. Social advertising allows businesses to find their ideal audience and target them directly with relevant messages and create conversations that actually appeal to them. And just a little cheeky tip, because we have talked a lot about audiences and obviously the targeting options. We have, if you haven't already got an audience persona or more than one, we have a downloadable available on our website, which should help you in creating one of these. And you definitely do need to have them before you start ticking boxes in the audience selection area. So that is me.
Thank you very much, Danni. That's great. That's some fantastic information. No, some fantastic information there. That's really, really helpful. Thank you. So one question I have around, I guess the budget side of doing advertising is, I know it's not as simple as this, but if you put a budget, let's say for simple numbers, £10 to something, or £100, is it going to be 10 times more effective? Or basically, the more you are prepared to commit, does it make a bigger difference?
I think that it is difficult to answer because all the platforms are different as well. But obviously, with anything, the more money you put in, the more result you're going to get potentially. Because when you're setting it up, the parameters change as you're setting it up as well. So if, you know, like, for example, on LinkedIn, when you do it, it's quite good at telling you what the budget is down the side. So you can put you could put a lifetime budget in there. So you could tell it that you only want to spend 500 quid and you don't want to go over that. And it'll tell you an idea of how many people you would potentially get back for that. So you can play around with it a little bit. There are limitations depending on what type of ad that you want to run as well. Like there's minimum spends on things. In terms of you couldn't just put £10 on a campaign ad. You might be able to do that on a boost, but it's such a difficult question to answer. But what I always do is I always run some of those like checks before I say to a client, this is how much you need to put in. I would run that process of before I clicked send, I would actually kind of give them some examples of what it might cost. So we usually look at around 250-ish as a bit of a starting point, but like I say, it depends on industry, it depends on ad type, platform. There's so many answers.
Oh, absolutely. Kind of further on from that, I guess, as well is, and you did talk about it as well, when people are considering a budget, whether it's £10, £1,000 or £1 million, you kind of equating for the other things apart from just what is being paid to Facebook or whatever it is so important. So landing page, all the kind of follow-ups, who you that is obviously such an important consideration, just not how much you're going to spend with Facebook.
Yeah, definitely. There's so many more different things, and even just time. Like we talked about assessing, reassessing, and so many companies don't plan that time in. And someone needs to sit and look at those analytics and decide what's working and what's not, and how to amend that. So yeah, there's that element as well.
Well, that makes sense. Thank you very much, Danni. No, so if anyone wants to find out a little bit more about you, about Xpand, or just contact you and ask any questions, where are the best places to do so?
They can contact me on LinkedIn. That's probably the easiest place. But we're always in the office as well, and the contact information's on the website. But yeah, LinkedIn, just drop me a connection request, and we'll catch up.
That's brilliant, Danni. Thank you. And if anyone, for whatever reason, can't find Danni or Xpand, ask me. I've got all the details as well. So we do have them at Northern Affinity as well. So we're always happy to pass them on if needed. So yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for your time, Danni, and for people who are watching live. If there's bits they want to catch up on later, we're gonna add it to our YouTube channel and our website over the next day or so. So that'll be available for people to pick up, and yeah, lots of fantastic information there. So thank you so much, Danni.
Sorry, try to cram it all in the time as well.
Oh, I appreciate it's such a big area, yeah, and there's so many things. So to get that in, so you did well in 45 minutes to get that in.
Thanks. No, thank you for having me. And if anyone does have any questions or they want to talk about how we might be able to help as well, we'd be happy to do so.
Thank you very much, Danni. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Take care.